for $2 billion, could you stop listening to music forever? I go, yourself and the $2 billion, bro.
Nothing like stars from a paradise. Don't care, cause there's magic in the air tonight. Pretty girl in my ear, she the rarest type. Heaven on earth is right here tonight. I'm in the dream state. I'm in the dream state.
You guys are in for an insane episode of the Reddcast today. We have the legend, Jozi.
Understand?
So listen, I mean, that tagline right there, just to start it all off, that is the Jozi tagline. It is infectious. Everybody who hears it starts saying, our entire squad.
It really is. It really is.
It's unbelievable. Where did that come from?
Believe it or not, man, my father says that all the time after everything. Like, it could, like, not even, like, make sense and fit in the sentence. But he literally just loves to say understand. So I was like, you know what? I'll let it rip a little bit. And did it ever rip? You know what I mean?
So the first time we met, which is where I guess we'll start it all off, we actually met the night of Headliner, Memorial Day weekend, very briefly, but it wasn't like we really got to know each other. It was kind of in passing.
I didn't meet anybody that night.
That
was bad.
That was the most electric set in Jersey Shore history, I swear. We've talked about it many times on this fucking podcast.
Yep.
You opened up, then it was Cisnero, then it was Keats, Disco Lines, and then Darian Cisnero and Keats went B3B at the end last hour. Mm-hmm. Absolutely electric. But then
flooded. This place was flooded with people, bro.
It was insane.
It was nice, bro.
It was a great kickoff to summer. It was absolutely electric, and it set the tone. And then, so briefly in passing, I mean, the night was absolutely insane. And then
when we really hit it off,
was Atlantic City.
That was,
that was Keats for Mal P. Keats for Mal P. So I knew within 30 seconds of meeting you, we had to do the podcast.
And you know what's funny? Jay was even telling me, he's like, bro, you got to, like, meet Red. You got to sit down with him. He's like, you'd be perfect to doing stuff with him. So I was like, you know what? I got to make a little impression when I'm in AC, you know? Plus, that was Saturday night. The day before, I got asked to open up for Matroda. So I was at Matroda Friday at HQ, played, gambled all night, shit the bed, terrible. Then woke up, went to Gordo at the pool party, because Gordo actually played one of my records at the Mirage, so I wanted to show him love, introduce, show face. From Gordo right into Mal P for Keats. And that's when it was me, you, Cisnero, Habib.
The entourage that walked down into that lobby, I mean, when we rolled into HQ was absolutely phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
But so you got a pretty deep story in music. And we just met each other, really got to know each other. But now starting to fill in all the blanks and fill in the story, I mean, it goes back. It's deep.
Well, yeah.
So,
yeah, bro, since I'm a kid.
Where did that start for you? Like, when did it all get going?
So, I knew I loved house music and stuff when, I have an older brother. He's 6 years older than me. And he was heavy into the club scene. So, me growing up as, as like a little kid, I would always hear him playing this music in his room, and then, he'd go out, and then I'd catch myself turning on the stereo, listening. And at that moment, I knew I loved house music, And even before that, like, when I started DJing, I was like, I know I just have it in my blood because my mother's father, my nonno, my grandfather, he used to tour the world singing Italian music back in the 70s and 80s. Like, full blown. Like, his marriage went downhill because he was just running it, on every continent. And you know what I mean? It's just like, it's not necessarily like an exact moment in time that led me to this. It's the different steps, Like my brother with his room, and then, like I said, my grandfather. And then for my 9th birthday, I got like my first set of DJ equipment with like fucking CDs. Like it was, Like, so it's just, it's been a journey, man. It's been a journey.
Now, when you first got into it back then, kind of as it gradually progressed over time, were you making your own music? Were you listening to other songs and making remixes, mashing up? Like, how did it start in making music?
So, making music came, like, way later. Like, when I first started DJing, it was just the regular DJ stuff. Like, I was, like, 12, 13, doing, like, graduation parties in 8th grade. And then I got a job for a company. I don't know if you ever heard of them in Staten Island. Now they're in Jersey, too. Partners in Sound Productions.
Okay.
I used to work as a DJ, roadie, dancer. I did that whole business all throughout high school. And then after high school, my love for house music came back, and I started doing, like, some club DJing. I played at Pasha. I played at Webster Hall. I played at Pier 94. My name back then was actually Bassface, Bassfass. It was actually, it's pretty cool.
That's gas.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, man. But it faded out. And at that time, bro, to play these big venues, it's not like today, like where you have like clout, so to speak, and like just a following. They wanted you to prove that to them. So they like the only way you could play main floor at Pasha was if you sold 100 tickets. Nobody's selling 100 tickets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would sell 40, 50 maybe max, and then I would come out of pocket for the other 50. So after a while, you know, it became more of like a bill and an expense. I wasn't even making money doing it. So that's when I took that 5-year hiatus, that 7-year hiatus. I took completely off of DJing. I stopped doing it. I didn't have to drive for it anymore. And then, you know, I started making music during that like hiatus, like just fooling around and then hanging out with Keats, Andrew, all them. It relit the fire in me, bro, you know?
Yeah, well, that entire squad, I mean, you talking music, it's infectious. It's just like
put any squad up against us, like in the music DJ world, and you get rolled over.
You'll get rolled the fuck over. They'll try to hold the fucking
you
line.
Ain't holding the line. They're gonna lay down and die.
But for real, I mean, the skill, and it goes back, something you said that I want to touch on. Back then, it was about how many tickets you could sell. And still to this day, it's almost surprising when I find promoters and clubs using that model still.
Yeah.
Like here, you buy the tickets and then you sell them. Like it's out of pocket. You're paying to play, which back then, that's really what it was like.
Well, you know what it is? That just goes to show the type of people that are running those parties because they're dated. You know what I mean? They're still stuck in the past. Like it's a different world out here, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It really is. Like the club scene is so different from when from when I was going 19 years old, Pasha. You know? Like,
yeah, so let's talk about Pasha for a minute.
Please don't make me cry.
That's like your stomping grounds. Like
Yeah,
that was it. What was that like back when you were, you know,
scary.
Yeah.
Scary, bro. You know what it was? I'm actually grateful for it because, like, listen, the real house, like, not like even like Headliner and like the Shore, like my lane, the underground, you know what I mean? And like the real house music scene, you know, it gets scary because, you know, it welcomes the gay community. It welcomes the drug community. It welcomes the transvestite and like all the trannies. It welcomes the big juice bags that you think would never even like think about being gay, and they're coming, you know what I mean? It's just, there was so much stuff at once, and like, I'm grateful for that because like it opened my eyes at a young age, and it exposed me to that early, you know? But yeah, Pasha, bro. Have you ever been?
No.
Oh my God, bro. I can't even put into words how like magical that place was. It was just little ass building in the middle of the city, right by the West Side Highway. You know where the Intrepid is?
Yes.
It was a half a block from the Intrepid, from that ship. Yeah, man. Some real magical moments. I was there when I tell you every weekend, like I don't think I took a weekend off. Friday, Saturday for like 4 years straight. Every fucking Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
And maybe Sunday.
Well, when it's a spot like that where what you just described, early on, especially in like a music career or just early on in anything, like when you're opened up to that, it keeps you welcoming to everybody.
Exactly.
Like what you just described, I don't think a lot of people, especially around here, like each club kind of has their niche. That's how I feel. So if you like that and you keep going, you're kind of seeing the same thing over and over, which is fine because that's why I think it's been so successful for so long is that they have that built-in clientele, the people that want to keep going.
Yep.
But the thing I like about that and the underground scene and where there's so many different walks of life.
You're right.
And that's what I think.
There's no discrimination,
yes.
bro. You know what I mean? Nobody hates, like, you know what I mean? And I'm grateful for that because in a world like today where everybody is hating and everybody is just passing judgment, I'm happy I wasn't brought down into that, you know, that type of fucking
madness.
Yeah.
It is right now is like, and I mean, it feels like the world is the most divided it's ever been. Yeah. Like everything is a problem for one person and then the other person doesn't agree and then it just goes.
And like you said before, everyone's just saying something just to go viral.
It's insane. Like, you know? Like what I was saying, I'll catch people talking and I'll be like, there's no way this person actually thinks that's true. Like that clip right there is just somebody saying something that they know is going to gain attention.
You are an asshole if you think some of those shits are true, what they're saying.
It's unreal and it's just like, it makes it tough for other people, such as like when I'm trying to make it and I'm just trying to be real. Like it makes it harder on those people because
it's a generation of clowns.
And you know what it is too is just there's so much younger of an audience now that's exposed to all this on social media and everything. So that's what they're seeing at a young age, and that's what they're being brought up in.
You're right.
As opposed to somewhere like Pasha where you see all walks of life and you see something different, and that's where you start. Being in those situations, traveling, going to different places, that's where you gain perspective.
Of course.
But I feel like nobody's seeing different perspectives nowadays.
Yeah, you're right. It's the truth, bro. Because we're like censored in a way. Like you only see what they want you to see. You know what I mean? Like I was watching, like I said, in Pasha. Dude, I was 19 watching like transvestites like sniff ketamine. Like you know what I mean? Like it was just
insane.
It was different era, bro. You know what I mean? It exposed me at a young age. Like it was just man.
Yeah,
I wish I can go back in time and like bring you with me,
so I could see it all.
dude. You yeah.
Well, that's what I like about too when we go out, and I talked about this with Habib on the podcast. We just did one this week. When our squad goes out, we have that energy where it's kind of welcoming to whatever, like whoever, whatever. If you're willing to vibe and respect, and even at Reds, that was my only rule at Reds. We welcomed everybody. Dude, it goes back to my grandfather. Same thing. The original Red, dude. If you were willing to respect anybody who was in the establishment, he was willing to let you in. You were welcome to stay.
Of course.
The minute you start disrespecting somebody else, and it starts, that's when you're done.
You don't want that type of image, like just that type of vibe. You know what I mean? That negative vibe.
Yeah, and it's very profound nowadays. And it's just, I think also with the way social media is and everything like that, like most of what you're seeing is just the things you want to see because the way the algorithm works now, it's just pushing exactly what you like. The more you watch, whatever you pay attention to, it's going to push more and more of that onto your page, and then you just keep seeing that.
So you keep watching stupidity. Stupidity will just keep funneling through your feed, bro.
And it's just, there's so much out there now. It's just flooded. Everything is flooded, and it's like, that's why I think, for
flooded
me,
like headline of Memorial Day weekend.
Dude, I mean, that was seriously flooded. I mean, by the way, I mean, that night was just, I mean, start to finish was absolutely insane.
You know what it was? I mean, I don't want to pat myself on the back, but the opening DJ it's a lost art, bro. Yeah. And I had this place,
jumping,
moving at first.
Jumping. Memorial Day weekend down the shore is just absolutely, I mean, because that's another thing we could talk about is just sending the shore. I mean, you've been doing this for some time now, just like me. We're a little bit older.
Too long, bro.
I mean, the French Bistro. That's...
Come on, bro. French Bistro, bro. I'm talking about back in the day before they even did like all the high tops outside, when there was the picnic tables and the porta potties as soon as you walked outside. Smelled like shit and grails. And you were just like, fuck it, bro.
Different era back then. Well, that was back when, I mean, Slim was running West Bar for a decade, dude.
Slim's a good friend of mine from back in the day, bro. We went to the same school together.
He is one of the nicest guys out there, dude. And he was for a decade running that West Bar. I mean, it was just insane.
Him and Jen?
Yep.
That was just an electric combo.
And Nico. I mean, that was the dream team.
Yeah.
Slim, Jen, and Nico. That was the dream team.
That was Jordan Pippen.
Yeah, that was
97. It really was.
In the heart of the trenches. And now you got, of course, Ashley, the greatest of all time, Daniello. She's one of the greatest to ever do it. She's middle West Bar. Shuts it down all the time.
Yep.
And then Nico's still holding it down always.
You know, bro, I can't even do the inside of DJs anymore, bro.
I was just about to say that.
I'm at the point where I'm like, all right, this is like, nobody even knows who the fuck I am here anymore. Like, I used to walk in there like, I used to walk in there literally like Pope John Paul, bro. Everyone would come up to me like, oh my God, Joe. Like, now I walk in there, I feel like a creep. There's all, but that's what happens. You get older.
Yeah.
So if I'm at the French Bistro, I'll be there on like a Sunday afternoon, 1 o'clock. Catch me outside in flip-flops. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I don't do the whole inside thing no more.
So the Mecca, as I call it, DJs, what was cool for me was when Reds took off, I had already gone through the phase same thing. Like we would charge, I'm talking West Bar every night, closing it down, dance floor, 12:30 on the dance floor, goes off. Kip's shutting it down 1 to 2. I mean, it's classic. Still to this day, he shuts it down 1 to 2 and he fucking kills it. But that was like, we did that for a couple years. Then I opened Reds with my family in New Brunswick. And when it took off, all those kids graduated, they're 21, 22. They're going down the shore for the summer.
Yep.
So it completely reset my clock. So now I'm walking in there, and instead of, my friends who have faded away through time and I don't see them no more there, I'm seeing everybody. Yep. Like there ain't nowhere I'm turning. So it gave me new life for a couple years. Now I'm starting to feel that it's getting to the edge of that.
Oh, no, yeah, I've had that too, bro.
Yes.
I mean, like, honestly, just this year, like I'm about to be 30 in a couple months. Just this summer is when it hit me. Like, bro, last summer I was running DJs and headliner. Like every weekend, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Just get abused by women.
Yeah.
Let's start a family. What are you doing at the shore?
Well, so and when did you start like playing headliner as a DJ?
So my like return was actually last year's Memorial Day weekend, before the renovation, when the booth was over there, and there was we opened up for A Craze. That was another electric night.
Oh shit! Okay,
That was me, and then after me it was
Cisnero and Keats too. Same thing.
Cisnero, Andrew, Keats.
Yes, Neebs as well.
Neebs was there too. Yep, and then Charlie A Craze. Yeah, that was a good night, bro. And then after I did that, that was one of the more nervous shows I've ever did, because it was like after my 7-year break, nobody knew that a lot of people that I met during that hiatus had no idea that I DJ'd. So now I'm coming back, and even though I've been doing this my whole life, there's some people in my mind I know, this is how I see it, they probably think I'm like a newbie in this. You know what I mean? They probably think I don't know what I'm doing. So when I played that show, I was very, very nervous, but it was electric, went perfect, went smooth, and then after that, I got booked again, and then again, and again, and then before you know it, just,
That night, A Craze, 2 years ago, or whenever, I think it was 2021, right? Yeah, so it was 2 years ago, right?
No, 2022 it was.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
this was
okay,
2023.
you're right. So 2022,
Yep.
That's the first night I met Keats, right? So Cisnero, the way my connection comes to everybody and how we ended up meeting down the line here is Cisnero was one of the first resident DJs of Reds. The year Reds took off, as I mentioned to all you guys before, it was during the pandemic, right? And I was one of the people that was pushing the limits, and I was letting people in, and we had the cops in there, ABC, everybody was in there checking every night. It was nuts, right?
Understand?
You better fucking stand that, baby. That's what we do. And it was just an insane time, but that is what made Reds so popular, was that people came in the beginning, again, limited capacity, so I had to keep it under control to some extent.
Yeah, there was eyes all over.
That's what helped the brand build, because at first, when it was limited capacity and we had to control it to a certain extent, people got to know me. And then once that started happening, they were like, yo, this guy Red's cool. Like, he's letting people in. We have a good time here. It's a great space. They saw that we had the biggest space there. It was nice. We kept it clean. Not like these other college bars where you walk in, your feet sticking to the fucking ground.
Where was Red's on?
So in New Brunswick, I might have to cut that. I'm taking shots at the other college bars, but fuck them. Who cares?
We don't cut shit over here. Yeah. Fucking smear it in your face.
Reds was right down the block from RWJ, so the hospital.
Okay.
It was, if you were up at campus, if you know where the other bars are.
Real quick, because I'm not really good with that whole area.
Yeah.
Do you know where the New Cousins is?
Yeah.
How far were you from,
So if you walk out of Cousins and make a left, you go to where the train station is. That bridge,
yep.
We're right under the bridge, right next to it.
Right
on the
there.
other side of the bridge.
Wow, okay.
So that Cousins is on the side of town where all the people who have full-time jobs and stuff live, and that's the downtown area.
Yeah.
And then Reds was right on the other side of the bridge. So people could wrap around there, but that bridge and the train station kind of acted like it was a landmark. You were Rutgers, you didn't really go past that. If you were on the other side, you never came over. Hold the fucking line. And I'll tell you what, I'll clip it in, us holding the fucking line of Reds. It was me versus fucking 500 people out front. It was absolutely insane. I mean, it was amazing. But and that was cool, because at one point I didn't ever see it getting to there, because I thought we were screwed from the pandemic and all that. And then it ends up getting there, and I'm like, damn, this is cool. Yeah. Of course, it comes back around, and we have to close because of it. It's been told many times. But Cisnero and his squad were sending that year before you could even have live DJs, live music, anything. There was nothing you could do. It was just when everything was supposed to be shut down, nothing's supposed to be going on.
Yeah.
Became friends with him. Became friends with another good DJ, one of the best, I think. His name's Brant Wolf. Okay. So those two guys, I got to listen to their music a little bit, learn their story very briefly, and then learn their taste in music. And I would give them the Spotify playlist, I give them the aux, and they would be playing music. They'd be dude, Cisnero every single night would request "Be My Lover." It was an absolute staple. You know, Cisnero, when he parties, he gets to a level, dude.
Yeah.
And me and Habib were talking about how good it is that he has Habib with him now to keep him in check once he gets to the tipping point.
Yep.
But he is one of the most fun guys to go out with, and when he gets there, dude, every night, Red, be my lover, every fucking night, dude. And it was just so funny. I'd be at the other side of the bar, and you'd hear fucking Cisnero yell from the corner, and he'd fucking request it. But then I would start giving them the phone, and I learned how good their taste in music was. I got a little snippet of their actual music, and then the next year I knew going in, I was like, all right, when we can have live DJs, Cisnero and Brant, they're the top. Those are the resident DJs.
Yeah.
So that next year is when
Cisnero also even fits that vibe perfect.
Perfect.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
It was money. It was just like
meant to be.
perfect
you know?
synchronization. It was just like he came in, he started doing $2 Tuesdays. I was rotating. I mean, I had weeks where he would play a Tuesday and a weekend night. That's how I would work it. I'd pretty much book one guy every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then on Tuesdays I'd rotate them in. So they'd get some weeks they'd have 2 shifts doing the $2 Tuesday, which was the craziest night.
Tuesdays was the busiest night?
Yeah, it was $2 Tuesday, $2 mixed drinks.
Oh
Tequila Club, Vodka Club, gin and tonic, with rum and coke.
I didn't know you.
Nuts. I mean, it was insane. I mean,
That
this
was
thing
bad.
went and still to this day, Rutgers is doing $2 Tuesday.
Wow.
But
Started it.
it was, I would say we kind of took it over when pandemic happened. No one else wanted to do it. And I said, fuck
they
it, we
were
got
already
people
losing
coming
money,
in.
like,
yeah,
yeah.
I was like, we're doing it because people were coming to Reds on
And
the
they
weekends.
wanted $2
Yeah, I was like, give
Tuesdays.
them a day where they could buy cheap drinks. You know, all these
it.
guys are coming Thursday, Friday, Saturday, buying $5, $6 drinks.
The quantity's
Let's get 'em.
there.
Yeah, it was
The
nuts.
amount of people that,
Dude,
you know what I mean? You make
25
money.
vodka clubs, like nuts, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, so he started playing Tuesdays. It started getting crazier and crazier. He became the staple $2 Tuesday guy. And that, like you said, the vibe just fit perfect. Me and him became very close. Me and Brant became very close. Met Keats through the grapevine with Cisnero, that connection.
Yep.
And Keats hit me up about the podcast and everything. And that's right when Reds closed, and it kind of all just came together. So that's where I link up with this whole squad. And now it's just like we have an absolute unit,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But, and
Powerhouse.
just powerhouse squad. But the thing is, what's cool about it is I know you guys. I know how good you are. And I know the talent you guys have. But now I'm starting to get to learn the story. And it's
Yeah.
like when you gave it to me briefly when we were in Atlantic City, you're talking about the 7-year hiatus and all this and then coming back. And I'm just thinking like Jozi ASAP remix, fucking ripping it, like fucking Gordo playing that. Like,
Fucking awesome.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like cool to now backtrack.
To now
and
see the backstory.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah.
So when you took the hiatus, that 7 years, what was it that first kind of led you to stop? Was it just like a natural break? Was it a combination of things? Because you said, you know, the promoters charging.
It was, yeah. Well, that was like majority of it because, you know, like I was still working. Obviously, I still had like my career and stuff, but like to spend money, you know, just to play and like they didn't give you a paycheck. You didn't get paid when you played like main floor Pasha or something like, you know what I mean? Obviously some people did, but like me just coming in to open, like some guy off the street, I had a connection at Pasha with this guy, Roddy Dean. Eddie Dean is the owner. It was his brother. I knew him from the pizzeria I worked at, my uncle's pizzeria I used to manage in Jersey. So he like got me in the door there. But then like, you know, a ticket for Pasha was like $75. So now think about paying 50 tickets at $75. It's a few grand just to DJ. You know what I mean? But the drive was just more was more powerful than the money and stuff. And then, you know, I was able to do it for a couple years, you know? And then it was just like, bro, like, why am I doing this? Like, the scene is changing because when I was Bassface, back when I was doing Pasha, I was playing all EDM. EDM in like 2015, like started to take like a little decline, you know? And I don't want to say a decline. In my eyes, it was a decline, but EDM was coming up so much that it started bringing like hype beast and people that weren't really like about the music. They were there just to do drugs at EDC. Like that shit bothered me like very deeply. So it was a mixture of all that, you know, and yeah, I would say that, and the scene was definitely why I stopped doing that.
Yeah, those types of things, especially when you have a true love for it, like that.
Well, that's
like,
what it was.
And I see it now with the house music scene. We're kind of in a similar era now. Like, look at John Summit, Dom Dollar. I mean, half the people that are at those shows, the appreciation like for real house music, they just don't have
even
it.
know what he's doing.
And
like,
by the way, that's fine. Like, you go there, enjoy whatever.
you just want to
But
be there because you've seen John Summit on Instagram.
exactly, you want to be back in the booth with him partying, all the hot girls in the front. They pick me. But the thing I hear when I hear songs by you guys, and it's just the instrumentation, what you're using, the sounds, it's different.
Yeah, man.
And the thing is, like,
you have to be different, bro.
you have to be different.
You can't just blend in.
And it's,
Look at
for
me,
me,
I can blend in, bro. Like, come on, bro. I was born to stand out. Like,
But when you fucking hear like a real, like true, like house song that has real instrumentation and those real instruments and old school vocals and things like that pull in and they can mix and master it in a way where now it fits the current day and age house.
exactly.
You can hear the difference, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of people, because now I'll be at a show, and I talked about this recently. My one buddy, his name is Aaron Golden. He goes by AG. He started doing a lot of promo for Rose Gold up in
Okay.
New York City.
Yeah.
And he does a lot of videos for them, and now he'll start DJing their events, right? So his first live show, his first show ever as a DJ, because I worked with him back when I worked the 9 to 5, was a yacht party in New York City. And he told me about it, and he had been following along with what I had been doing at Reds and like all the DJs I was meeting. He saw the Keats podcast, he saw the Brand podcast, everything.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know, back when we worked together, I knew he had a true passion for the music, and I knew when he got a chance to actually do a show, it was going to be special, right?
Of course.
So when I went to the show, he told me about it. I said, "Yo, I have to be there. I can't miss." He's been supporting me since the beginning, like with everything. I was like, "I'm going to this show." I knew when he went on, it was going to be different from whatever else I heard. And now the other DJs were good; they killed it, right? But the difference between what he had playing and what they had playing, you can hear it. Like, you can hear somebody just put on a house BPM and just want to drop the bass and everybody go nuts.
That's it.
And then you can hear real sound.
Yeah.
And that is where I find the difference in the squad of people that we roll with.
DJing, a lot of people don't understand, bro. Like, it's kind of like it's kind of like a roller coaster if you think about it. It's all energy. So, like, how I like to play is I like to, you know, either if I'm starting off, I'm bringing the energy up, and then you bring it down a little bit, and then you bring it up, and then you bring it, play with them. You know what I mean? Like, that's real DJing, is just reading the room, bro. A lot of these cats, bro, just want to play banger after banger. And in a DJ standpoint, it don't even make sense to be playing these kind of bangers back to back. You know what I mean? There's a real art to it, bro, that people really don't understand, bro. Like,
yo, people talking about DJs just, they're just back there pressing buttons. I swear I want to fucking rock every single one of them.
You have no idea.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a true art to doing what you're doing. And then imagine producing music. Like, just forget about mixing and matching certain songs that already may go together well or where you can transition well.
Yep.
Imagine producing music.
Producing is that's where I spend most of my time, man.
So this song that you made, the ASAP remix. Yeah, that is an unbelievable track.
Thank you, bro.
I mean, unbelievable record.
Thank you so
I mean,
much.
support from Gordo. It's being played. I mean, it's when you started that, I guess in general, when you start to produce a song, where does it start in your mind? Like, how do you get going? Where is the inspiration? How does it all start?
So, listen, there's opportunity everywhere. Like, especially if you have like a creative mind, you could just hear something, like you hear the air conditioner going off, like somebody could like record that and like make like a white noise, and it's like so unique. You know what I mean? Like, there's just so much inspiration around everywhere. But with ASAP, when I made ASAP, so real quick, shout out my boys, DeMello, Hyde, All Black. Those are like my three, like, you know, those are the pioneers right there, bro. Those kids are making crazy moves, bro. And they have taught me so much and have helped me so much. So I would be in the studio with them all the time, you know, just learning, watching, learning, playing, you know, doing my thing. Then I've been in there so much where, like, I felt like I was ready to, like, do something. And me, bro, I'm a perfectionist. I don't want to show anybody something if it's not, like, 100% the way I want it to sound. Because, yo, you can never take back a first impression. Your first impression is everything. So, getting back to that, I went home, and after the studio with them one night, and they were doing their thing. They had a couple records they were working on. Get back to my house, I was up all night, and I was like, bro, I remember me and Andrew going to Rolling Loud, and I was on my phone, and I watched a video of A$AP Rocky playing Lord Pretty Flacco Jordy. That's the sample that I used. Listen to it, I'm like, bro, this is what's going to fucking go hard. You know what I mean? Went immediately into the studio, bro. Like, I have like a little bedroom studio, whatever. Immediately sat down, bro, started ripping it. The next day, I text them in a group chat. I'm like, yo, I'm coming to the studio. Like, you know, I wanna, let's get a session in. Didn't even tell them that I made anything. Bro, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. I go to the studio, bro, and I was like, yo, I want to show you guys something. I was like, I've been working on it. Because, like, their thing with me was, yo, just don't even worry about building a whole track. Like, make a couple grooves, you know, because a groove is everything. An 8-count loop where you have all your drums, all your percussion, all your hi-hats, your bass line. When you build a nice groove, that's how you build around that, you know? I plugged in the aux, bro, and I was playing, and I played it, and they were all looking at me like this. They were like, bro, like, this is, like, and that was, like, such a fulfilling moment for me, bro, because, like, I worked my ass off, bro, to get to that. Like, and to see, like, my boys, where those are the kids that would tell you it's trash if it really was, to see them happy for me, bro, that's what lit a fire under my ass more than when Gordo played it. Like, it's them. It's them that I'm like, you know what I mean, striving like that and getting good at my craft, you know?
Yeah, those guys are absolutely killer.
Bro.
I mean, they're just, and I only know them through, because you guys are well connected with those. I mean, those are your guys.
No,
so
no,
I
yeah.
see what they're doing through your social media and all that, and they're just absolute killer. And it's good to have those people that, A, are just masters in their craft, but also the type of people that will tell you if they don't think what you're doing is good.
Of course.
Because they're going to help you get to the next level.
Of course, bro.
And then when you have that moment where you play something for them and they hear it and everybody's like, yo, this
Dude,
is it.
I'll never forget, Benny was looking at me, my boy Benny, All Black. He was looking at me when I was playing in the studio, and he's like this. He shows me his arm, and it's just all goosebumps on his arm, bro, because the record was just I don't want to say it's a hit, bro, because who am I? I'm Jozi from Marlboro, New Jersey, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a hit. It's a good record. But to him, when he did that, I was like, bro, this record is a hit. Like, if I'm getting them hyped and I'm impressing them, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Like, they're deep in it, bro.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. And that's when you know is when you have those type of people reacting like that. It's
Yeah.
like, but then you mentioned it too. When you experience that and you had that feeling of them being like, yo, this is it, that just motivates you even more. You're like, yo, let's rip another
It lit a
one.
fucking fire under my ass, bro. And going back to when you were like, when you said before, when you were like, yo, you could, like, if you hear something from, like, the 90s and you could, like, tempo it down, right after that record when I wrote ASAP, I still haven't released it because I'm trying to get, like, some label, like, you know, buzz on it or whatever. There's a song called D.D by Amber. Came out in, like, 89, 90, 91, something like that. Just an absolute belter of a vocal, like, just awesome. You know, it's like one of those, like, those songs that, like, play, like, out, and you're like, I know this song from somewhere, and then you hear it going, and you're like, yeah, I ended up writing a remix to that, and, bro, this shit is electric. I can't wait to preview that shit to everybody.
Damn, so that's in the bank right now.
That's in the bank, bro. That's in the bank. I might be able to show you a little preview on the pod. We'll see.
Yo, let's go. We get a little. We don't want to fucking. I'm the same way as you. I'm like, you know what?
It's done.
It's done.
Oh, it's done. Yeah, but I don't want to release it because I want a label to pick it up.
Yeah. Well,
You know?
that's Cisnero was saying that too. He's like, yo. He's like, the main goal for me always is, like, I'm trying to get my song signed. Like, I'm trying to sign, or I'm trying to get my song signed to a major label so that it gets
how
exposure.
starts.
Yeah.
If you get one of your songs signed on one of those labels, it's over for you, bro. Then you have a booking agent. You have a booking agent contact you, like, yo, we want to work together. We want to set up, you know, a little tour. Before you know it, you're going on a little U.S. tour, and you start to pick up some heat. I'm telling you, all it takes is just one record to get picked up on a real good label like that, and it's game over.
Yeah, well, I look at, like, the DJs that have been firing over the last couple years, and it feels like there was always that one song that really put them on. Like, really put them on the map and that everybody knew. And then it was just like after that, but you know what I like about that is, and this is the cool thing about the podcast too, when you sit down with somebody and you get to learn their story, up to the point of when you're telling that story or hearing the story from my perspective, it hasn't changed. So once you realize they have that skill and then you learn everything else that came along with it, it's like, because you look at, I always use John Summit as an example. I mean, he's so big, everybody knows him now. And he had that one song, what is it, the Deep Song or whatever it was?
Deep End.
Deep End.
Yep.
And that's
what blew him up.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now you hear the rest of his songs. I mean, the skill, it's just every song's a banger,
It's
right?
different caliber, yeah.
But prior to that, like, all those videos he has on YouTube, like teaching people how to make house music and stuff. The cool thing about when you blow up and make it is, like, this whole thing with the overnight success and all that doesn't exist. Like, he was working for years, right?
Yeah.
And for anybody who makes it, the whole overnight, like, that's bullshit. Like, and he's such a good example because now think about all the people we were talking about before that just are in the house scene for, you know, the aura, the energy. They don't appreciate the music so much.
Yep.
Like, they're all now finding out about his story even. And that's the cool part, because even those people that are not looking so deep into the music, because I'm sure there's people who are like, dude, this guy had bangers for a while. And, like, you could see him coming up.
So all of us, bro, when I'm sure you know from Jay developed a good relationship with John Summit.
Yep.
And, you know, he opened from a couple of times, and we were all chilling with John. And, like, we saw the progression. Like, I just sent it to Andrew and Jay the other day. I came across a memory. 3 years ago, HQ Pool Party was the first booking they booked John Summit. And we knew John Summit from, he had a record, obviously Deep End, and then It's the Way You Make Me,
Oh, that song's
that record classic. And then there's another track, Witch Doctor, whatever. We just knew his music. We knew he was a talented guy, but like nobody really knew who the fuck John Summit was. That's 3 years ago. Were you at the one that was just this year at HQ Beach Club?
With Summit or no?
With Summit.
No, I wasn't over there.
Bro, it was flooded to the gills.
Nuts.
Bitches were getting thrown out because they were trying to fight getting into the DJ booth.
Dude.
Bro, in the matter of two... Bro, I wish I could show you videos, bro. I would have
no, I remember all the highlights, dude.
No, but from 3 years ago, there was like 200 people in the crowd, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We were all in the booth chilling with him, bro. You know what I mean? And then it's just... It's crazy, bro. It really is crazy, bro. But that just goes to show, like, if you have drive, you have dedication, you believe in yourself, bro, you have a supporting team behind you, and not even a team, a support system. You know what I mean? Like, bro, like... One of the reasons why, like, my spark came back again to DJ is because I started hanging out with Jay, Andrew, like religiously, you know what I mean? And just watching them crush, bro, and then, like, dabbling with the idea, like asking Andrew and Jay, like, yo, you think I could probably get back into it, bro? Like, you know what I mean? And they're like, bro, yeah. You know what I mean? They don't look at it as, like, I'm another DJ taking food off their plate. They're like, bro, you're my boy, and we know you can spin.
Dude,
Do it.
Dude, having... those types of people around is the key.
Is the key to success, bro.
Because listen, there's so many people that you like. I think this story is just like it happens over a time in history. Like you're around people that are telling you how good you are, whatever, that you can make it, and then when you make it, they're just not there for you. Like when you are around people that believe in you before it ever happened, and you know that they're, especially when you talk about Keats and those guys. The thing I noticed about him right away was how willing he was to help everybody else.
Yep.
At his level of success. Because he's big time, bro. And he's fucking successful business guy. As a DJ, he's crushed it. He plays with all the biggest names.
He's handsome.
Yeah. He's an absolute fucking stallion. Like, dude, I mean, so when you meet, that was like one of the first things I noticed because a lot of the people I've met through nightlife and stuff like that, when they've achieved the level of success that he has, their egos are big. Yeah. They have it all. Like they don't, I don't need you. I don't need that. Keats and Luke, dude, from the beginning were like some of my biggest supporters on this podcast. And they said it on the podcast, and I'm so happy, like, that was the first podcast I did in 2023. First one of the year was with Keats, and Luke was there.
Nice.
And he talked about it, and he's like, dude, don't even, be mad about Reds closing because what you have going and the energy you have, you're going to take off in whatever you want to do. And I just remember those guys, and since then, they've been real. Like, they've only been real, and they've only been trying to pick me up. And that's what I noticed about our whole entire crew. That energy, you tend to find... Exactly.
It reciprocates,
and,
bro.
dude, when we're walking through that lobby, going into HQ, it's like, that's the energy of every...
Like, it's fucking Tony Soprano. And
dude, it's the absolute fucking unit walking through that place. And it's just like... But that's it. Everybody's trying to bring everybody else up. That's who you want to be surrounded by because,
and you know what? That's why our crew feels that way because there's no negative energy, scumbag snakes trying to fucking bring you down like in your crew. You know what I mean? Like backstage.
You want to see them win.
Everybody wants the best for everybody. You know what I mean?
It's crazy how it, like, over time, that kind of works out if you continue to just be who you are. And because, like, think about how this entire meeting of all of us came to be. Like, it's such a, if you think about where everybody was and the randomness of it all, and then how it all came together, it's crazy to me. And now it's just like, I look at all the Reddcast episodes I have coming up for season 2. It's all you guys. Yep. Like, it's everybody who's supporting each other and trying to bring each other up. And that's so important. I think you got to find those people because they say it all the time. Like, imagine a talented person, they have the skill. You put them in a room with the wrong group of people, they're going nowhere. You put them in a completely different room with a completely different group of people, and they could go all the way to the top. Right. And when you find those people, you got to hold on to them. You have to fucking hold on to them, dude.
100%. You have to hold the line.
You got to hold the fucking line, dude. Let me tell you something about that fucking video.
Dude.
That's a banger video.
That is a banger,
That's one of my favorite I've ever made, dude. You know, that's like a classic talking about you took the hiatus from DJing and coming back. When I first was on social media, like my Instagram, those were like the hype videos I was making. I mean, still to this day, you can go back and look at a few, like the Oven Ain't Even Hot Yet video. That to me is the greatest video on the internet. But like those hype videos of me yelling, that's what kind of brought a lot of people with that similar energy into my life. And I mean, it just continues to roll. But again, going off, that was Keats, Luke, and I in a group text 30 minutes beforehand, just talking about life, trying like motivating each other and just bouncing ideas back and forth.
Just
And
being
then that
genuinely good people, bro.
the creative process, dude.
Support system, bro.
It's just crazy.
It all comes together, bro.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? When you find those people, bro, it's effortless.
Yeah.
You don't even need to try hard. You know what I mean? It just happens, bro.
Yeah, yeah. And so going off that, in terms of the people you have building you up and support system, inspiration, gaining that, your inspiration as a DJ, where do you find a lot of, like, what type of music did you listen to before you started DJing, and what do you think influenced your current sound?
So, that's a good question, bro. Like I said, my brother was like really a big influence for me, and my brother was listening to like, you know, he was like at Pasha for like Jonathan Peters and Boris and Victor Calderone, and even before that, when my brother was still in high school, it was like Louis DeVito and like DJ Cammy, Mel C, I turn to you. Like, bro, that was like my childhood. Bro. And then I remember being in my mother's fucking station wagon listening to freestyle music. Lil Susie, you know what I mean? Johnny Q. Like, that definitely has a big influence on my... But I'm just a very musical, like, person. Like, I like all types of genres. Like, you know, you could put me, like, with a fucking snakeskin boots and a cowboy hat, and I'll rock out some Morgan Wallen, bro. You know what
Dude,
I mean?
I fucking love Morgan Wallen.
Yeah,
dude.
bro.
Country music?
I was a big... Listen, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit here in front of the cameras and say, like, I always loved country. There was a time when I couldn't fucking stand it.
Same.
But when you become a little bit more musically inclined, like, and you realize the level of skill and passion just for music in general, I appreciate all different types of music. Besides, like, screamo. Like, I can't listen...
That's
like
tough.
death
That's
metal,
tough.
bro,
I mean,
yeah.
there's a couple good songs, like those bangers, but like, I mean, you can't.
I'll
I'm not
listen
sitting
to
there running through a screamo.
All That
album.
Remains 6.
Yeah.
When I'm in the gym,
Yep.
I'll put my head through a fucking mirror.
Well, that's the thing is there's a time and a place for a lot of the different, and that goes back to what we were talking about, the whole perspective thing. I think over time you kind of, because that's what will happen with me. It was like different experiences ended up opening my perspective to different types of music, different types of thought, the way people think.
Yeah.
Music's one of those things. Like you and I was very closed off to a lot of different types of music. And then as you start to experience more perspective and go to different places, see different things. Like for instance, I played college baseball, right? And, before that, didn't listen to country at all. Yep. Zero. But every time we took BP on the field, diamond, sun shining, 12 p.m. on a diamond, what do we got playing? Country music.
Country music,
just
baby.
dropping absolute fucking missiles, listening to country. That was also when Florida Georgia Line came onto the scene.
Yep.
That was when they dropped their first album, and they kind of bridged the gap between the modern country and what old country was.
Yeah.
And it brought a whole different crowd to the country music
scene. And now
scene.
look, going back to Morgan Wallen, he did a song with Lil Durk, the rapper.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like they're blending genres and stuff,
Yeah, and I think that's better for everybody. I think that's the way it needs to be. I think
it is, bro. There's no boundaries in music, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, any creative field, the boundaries don't exist really.
You're right.
And if you put yourself in a box, you're just limiting what you're able to do.
What you're able to do. Yep.
And I think there was a podcast I did in L.A. The guy's name was Ill Nicky. He's a very successful hip hop artist. He's more melodic, but he has done some big things. He's got a song in NBA. I talk about a lot now because when we did the podcast, listening to him, somebody who's had that level of success, he said the same thing. He was like, and by the way, Italian roots. Like he's just
Love
like
that.
First thing he says in his bio on Spotify is "What's up, paisans?" Like
that.
He loves it, dude.
Yep.
And I was asking him about his inspiration for his music, and you listen to it, the melodic tune and all that, and he's like, dude, I listen to everything.
Yeah.
Everything. And it was cool to hear that from somebody who's had that level. We're back. Tommy came in. When Tommy steps in the room, you got to listen.
Everyone's got to shut the fuck up.
Got to pay your respects. You got to say hello. You got to do the
Better be
whole
able to hear
thing.
a fucking pin drop. You know what I mean?
But we were talking about, I was going into the different types of inspiration with music, talking about my buddy Il Nicky, who we did a podcast with. And again, the whole Italian heritage. But he was talking about how so many different types of music, so many different genres are what inspires him. And it's something that I see as a recurring pattern through all musicians, how much they find in different types of music. Do you have a particular type of music that is your favorite? Any favorite type of genre? Like house music, you make house music. Like, what is your favorite? You got one?
House music.
Yeah.
Tech house, any type of dance music, bro. You know what I mean? You give me that 4 on the floor, that heartbeat. That's it, bro. That's all I need.
What do you think it was that made house music so popular over the last few years? Like, it really took off.
So I know already firsthand because I was there. EDC 2012, the first year they did it at MetLife Stadium, was just New York's fucking intro to. That time it was EDM. It was all big room house, progressive house, electro, you know, all that Afrojack shit. And yeah, man, you know, like I remember running kids over trying to get to the main stage for Afrojack.
Afrojack's unreal.
2012, dude. Yeah, man. Those guys are just legends. All those guys, Sebastian and Grosso, Swedish House Mafia, you know, Steve Angelo, another one in Swedish House Mafia, bro. You know, Nicky Romero, bro. These guys are all just legends. Avicii, rest in peace, Avicii. One of the matriarchs of house music, if you will. You know what I mean? And yeah, man, that definitely. I mean, listen, house music was here, like, but it wasn't anything what EDC 2012 did for like the scene and the music in New York and this area, because I went. That's like what, like, you know, like I said before previously, like, I've loved house music my whole life. So when I had a festival to go to and actually enjoy it for fucking 12 hours, 3 days in a row, you know what I mean? Like that, and that just hooked me. And then I was going to Electric Zoo. I was going to Pier 94. I was going here. I went to EDC fucking 4 years straight. And I saw the evolution of people and the amount of hype it was bringing in. And then you had Webster Hall playing, you know what I mean? Webster Hall was a big, you know, rock venue back in the day. But then when I was in like the mid 2013, 2014, bro, Webster Hall was a fucking breeding ground for fucking bass music, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I remember going there for a guy named Alvin Risk. You know, I don't even know if he even DJs anymore, but he was a big dubstep guy. Good friends with Skrillex. We went, and it was his birthday, and packed out show, sold out. Brings out Skrillex for his birthday, and the floor felt like a trampoline, bro. Everyone thought we were going down. Like, bro, it was scary, bro. But that's just the evolution of what the music does, you know what I mean? And what it did for New York.
Yeah, that era, it's such a golden era in
Golden
the
era.
EDM, the progressive house, and where it took us to where we are now.
Yeah.
I mean, and still to this day, they are playing all those songs. Like, those songs are all hitting still.
Bro, DJs, there's a button on the wall that says calling.
Yep, done.
Calling button.
I mean,
You hit
that's
it.
just... When calling plays at the Mecca DJs,
Dude.
that's one of the most electric experiences you could ever have.
Now at my stage, I'm like kind of like, I don't want to say sick of that music, but it's just not really my thing anymore. But you hear it at like 11:30 p.m. at DJs.
And you
sing
get
your ass
hooked
off like a bitch, bro.
right back into it.
Right back in.
It really is crazy how, you know what also is...
I'm also big. I'm a big, just for the record, bro, like, DJs is a great place, but I've been team headliner since I was like 21, able to go to the Shore.
Dude, I love Headliner.
Bro,
This place, the
magic.
sound system has always been the most elite.
I remember seeing the Martinez brothers here back in like 2016, bro. Those guys are idols now in my lane. Like, and they were here playing at Headliner.
100%.
This place is I mean, I don't even think it's a comparison. I mean, yeah, DJs is legendary. Headliner is just in my lane, and like the shit that I like, Headliner is
This is your spot.
Is El Chapo. You know what I
Dude,
mean?
I've had a lot of good times here. Some of the best nights of summer of the past couple of years I've had here.
I don't know
Everybody
if
knows I'm a DJ's guy. I say it all the time. That's my spot, the Mecca, till I die. But I'll tell you what, here I've had some of the best nights. Going back too, like you said, I had a birthday a couple of years ago here. Absolutely electric.
2016, 2017, bro. Here it was just like just an electric atmosphere, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
and then, so back then even, one thing I like about Headliner is that it's one of the few places around here where they book really big names.
Yep.
And bring
it's
them in.
probably the only.
Yeah, and
You know
that's
what I
what I'm
mean?
saying. I don't know if anywhere else around here is doing that. I know sometimes they'll cross over and they'll play like DJs if they go after, but they're not getting booked there. Like, they have their guys. Shout out to Olive Oil and those guys.
of
and
course.
fucking John Ferrugio and
Hell yeah.
DJ Kip. I mean, those
Brendan
guys.
O'Neill, bro.
They
Brendan
kill, yeah,
O'Neill's a
Brendan
goat.
O'Neill.
My boy Ryan Subas, Tony
Oh,
Randall.
man. DJ Cam, dude. I mean,
What they're
fucking,
doing, and I want to shout out my boys too, Ryan Subas and Tony Rando, and DJ Vitamin. What they're doing at DJs outside, because you remember DJs outside never had sound. It was always just very minuscule volume coming from inside. Now they're doing something called Camp Belmar, which is straight up, they're playing tech. Like, I walked into DJs outside, and I heard ASAP being ripped by them. Like,
right by the back
right by the
patio
back bar. Yep.
Yeah,
Bro,
they've been
electricity.
Yes.
You know?
And that was not something they used to do.
Never.
That's just been done recently.
Never.
But why not?
But that's a product of because they're in a very residential area.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I used to talk to Bon about it all the time. Like, Bon, why don't you put like a real deal like booth out here? And like, you know, it's very residential, bro. There's people, you know what I mean? There's houses right there. Like, granted, 95% of them are fucking kids from Staten Island who have shore houses.
Yeah.
But there's always that 5% that live there full time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They always shut it down early. You're right.
They do
when they do that. But they've been
even
killing
with
it.
Camp Belmar, they've done it like 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
11:30.
Yeah, because when we went, and it's always those guys, staple guys that are out there. We went, Wax Motif was playing here. We ended up getting him over to DJs. He came and sent with us after, and they were starting to, he had been fucking ripping. So he was about to get on there and start playing, but he was pretty tuned up. I mean, we were ripping fucking 40 white tea at a time, you know, fucking, and his whole squad was locked in for the set, and they were like, let's go.
They were like, fuck work. Let's
they were
party.
like, let's fucking, we're done. We played the show at Headliner.
Love
Let's go. But I do love that about Headliners, that it is one of the only places where they create those very big events where it is a big
get
game
real
coming
talent
in.
here, bro.
So, like, going back to the A-Craze thing, and it's cool because, like, A-Craze, Cisnero knew him from before he blew up.
Yeah.
Kind of like you guys all knew John Summit, and Keats was very close with him before that. And now it comes all back around, you know, once A-Craze. So, going back to the whole what made house take over, right? There was a whole era when the pandemic hit, right? Everything kind of took a hit, right? It was crazy. Like, everything went down. I felt like energy everywhere in the world was done. Yeah. Like, and people found different outlets. You know, you had in comedy specifically, I think comedy took off after that as well, but you had Andrew Schultz was doing all those crazy pandemic videos on YouTube, found a way to make it work.
Tory Lanez doing the quarantine, whatever.
Yep. And people were finding different lanes, different ways to do it, but the energy was so low. And then I remember when everything reopened, how much everything just started going crazy. Just absolutely nuts.
Yep.
And I remember one specific song I remember was A-Craze, Do It To It, right? And that year it started building, and leading into that summer, all that type of music started gaining traction. And then it hits. A-Craze plays here. That was what you were talking about before.
Yep.
And that summer just took off and it went nuts. Then the next year, again, more traction being gained, and all of a sudden John Summit comes on the scene, and the Dom Dollar starts taking off, and these guys are making just banger after banger. And now there's so many other good ones too that we could name. Yeah. But it just was interesting to see how it kind of went down, and then it just felt like it gained momentum at the bottom and just shot off.
That's just what happens, bro.
Yeah, it was.
History repeats itself.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So there's low points, there's hard points, and you know, thankfully we're in the middle of I mean. Now it's at it. I think it'll get bigger. I don't know how fucking that's possible because it's already huge.
It's fucking crazy.
But
right
like
now.
we watched it come up.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Which that's also very good for us too, in the sense of like creativity and stuff, because you see what works. You know what I mean?
100%.
And you see what builds that roller coaster, that chain lift. You know what I mean?
And finding different ways to separate your sound from somebody else's. That's like the thing.
You hear stuff, yeah.
And it's just like, because so many people are doing it, it's like, how can I separate? And I think it just creates more drive, and it goes back to the whole competition thing with how many people are DJing now or whatnot. But then that's what really separates when I hear somebody like you guys play, and I listen to that music, I'm like, damn, this is levels above what most people are doing.
You need to come out. I'm gonna make sure my next show, like where I'm really able to just like my like favorite show that I've played so far, one of my biggest shows was Labor Day weekend. Actually, Labor Day itself, that Monday, I got booked to open up for Classmatic and Mochak at HQ Beach Club in AC. Dude, that's a show that I need to invite you, where I could just fucking let loose. You know what I mean? I could play my style of music, my lane. Bro, there was something, it was fucking electric, bro. You need to,
Mochak is crazy, dude.
Mochak
and that's minimal, yeah? Like, kind of a lot of his songs that he does, or no?
It's
like, what's the song that he just dropped that one
Jealous?
song that says fucking, it's not Jealous, but it's just like, dude, I fucking rip it all the fucking time, dude. It's just
you know how
like,
old he is?
fucking, no.
I found out when I played with him. 23 years old, bro.
No shit.
Touring the fucking globe.
Bro, he makes
getting paid probably $75K for a show.
Just absolute fucking bangers.
Imagine walking in and just pressing buttons.
Yeah.
Getting paid $75K, bro.
Dude, yeah, pressing buttons
Pressing
these motherfuckers. Dude, I swear, dude, I was in, let me tell you something. I was in California, going back to that, and we're all taking an Uber going out for my buddy's birthday, and this girl who has a very good appreciation for music was explaining why and whatnot, but her appreciation was for live music, instruments like trumpet, saxophone, whatever. Yeah. So then she starts going on to talking about fucking DJs, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have that same appreciation for that type of music, and I was talking about how much I love it when I hear those types of instruments in house music or in EDM, whatever you can, fuse it in.
Yeah.
She went off on a little tangent about the pressing the buttons with the DJs. I swear to God, I almost told the taxi driver to fucking pull over, especially for the fact that over the last couple of years, I've become friends with all these DJs.
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys
know what? Fuck those type of people, bro.
You know what, though, too, is just like what I learned is at the bar, one thing I carried from Reds is a lot of people just don't know. I look at like 21-year-olds going out all the time for the first time at the bar and the way they order drinks and they're hawking the bar, yelling out their order. They don't know when to.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to explain
Have
to
some
people.
fucking decorum.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just wish more people were a little bit more open their first time when they're doing it as well. Because it is hard to sit on the other side of that and be like the bartender or the owner and have to fucking keep your cool when all these people are just acting out and then explain it to them over and over.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, I mean, it's insane. But
yeah.
that was, I think, attributed to the fucking pandemonium of the 2021 summer. All those people that were 22 over the pandemic never got a chance to experience it. You go out and it's just madness all over.
Madness.
Or just 22-year-olds that were really 21 that summer.
Yeah.
It was nuts. But also.
And even 30-year-olds, like 20, I was 28 during even me, bro.
Dude.
It was like letting a fucking silverback out of a cage, bro. When the fucking, bro.
Fucking silverback gorilla in its fucking prime.
In its prime, bro.
Dude, I'm telling you. You know what else I was thinking about, just talking about the rise of house and all that? There was a moment this past winter, when things started to really roll too, which was when Skrillex, Fred again, and Fortet linked up. And that's when I don't know how big the back-to-backs and the B3Bs were before that, but once that happened, I started seeing that all the time.
Yeah.
And so what's it like you playing, say, back-to-back with a DJ? Like you said, Matroda, you got a chance to play back-to-back with.
Yep.
What's it like playing back-to-back versus just solo? What are the differences, and how do you know when you're in sync?
That's where you really test your skill as a DJ, bro. You know what I mean? You can't just play a record that, like, you want to play because it sounds good in your ears. Like, you need to fucking... you need to, like, feed off them. I'll never forget when I went back-to-back with Matroda, I opened up from an HQ. He gets on, vibing. He loved me. He wanted me to get back on with him because I was closing, but he still wanted to stay on. His last song was, "Don't You Know, Pump It Up. You got to pump it up." Like, that's like you can't just transition into a fucking absolute banger from that.
No.
It's like when you're having sex, bro. You got to fucking play with it a little bit, bro.
Yeah,
you
got to fucking ease your way in.
Ease your
You
way
don't
in.
just
You can't
hop
be
right
too
in.
rough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to, there's a chemistry. There's a formula to doing this stuff, bro. You know?
Yeah.
And when he saw me, like, forgot what record I played. I forgot. I think I played, like, a remix to, like, Later, Maybe Tonight. I played, like, a real good edit to that. That was, like, where, like, he knew, he was like, all right, this kid knows, like, what the fuck he's doing, bro. You know what I mean? He didn't just play a fucking, because, he's closing. Now he could drop. Because a lot of DJs, when they're like, I'm closing, I could just let everything loose and I could just play. I feel like he respected that I fit the vibe and I floated into, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's the art we were talking about before, which people don't always see from the outside. Like, from the side of the other side of the booth, sometimes people don't really see or appreciate that, but it's just like, imagine, it's interesting because we were talking about the first impressions, right? Like, you think you have a song that you have and you want to make sure it's perfect before you put it out because you want people to hear and be like, yo, this is the guy here.
Yeah.
Because then they know similar music is going to be coming from you. Of course. You know? And so...
And you get a taste.
You get a taste of what they have and their skill, but it's cool to hear that someone like that hears your music, hears what you're playing and how you're operating behind the booth, and then they're like, no, I want this guy to play with me.
Exactly, bro.
And then it's just like, it's in sync. It's like crazy.
That record I was telling you about before, that D.D record, I played that during, like, so we went back to back for like a good, like, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and then, like, I had, like, the rest, like, the last hour or so, 45 minutes just to do my thing. And then I played D.D, and one of my best friends, bro, Matt Volpe, he's kind of like, that's, like, my brother, bro, from Diapers. He hasn't missed one show that I've done, like, as Bassface, and then when I came back as Jozi, you know, this is a friendship that's, like, 30 years, bro, you know what I mean? Like, so he told me when I played D.D, like, he caught Matroda, like, looking at the CDJs like this, trying to see, like, the name, because that's when you know someone's intrigued. You know what I mean? So that was a real big part, too. Like, he also appreciated my music. You know what I mean? He asked about the ASAP edit, like, whose is that? Like, but that's when he first got there, I closed out my opening with ASAP. My last song before he came on was ASAP.
Yeah.
You know, so he was able to hear it, too, in the booth, and, you know, it's that was fun, man.
That feeling's got to be pretty crazy when somebody like that hears your music, hears what you're doing, and they're like, yo, I want this guy to play with me. And then you see they're looking and they're interested. And that's how you know.
You know what, bro? Not even a guy at that caliber. Anybody, really.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean?
True.
If you could just touch anybody with music, it's kind of like, you know what I mean? I don't give a fuck if it's my mother.
Yeah.
My mother doesn't know what house music is. If I show her a song and she's like, oh, I really like this, like, I did my, you know what I mean? I did my deed. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
I, you know?
That is something, too, nowadays. I think a lot of people are chasing what I was just alluding to, like, oh, it's special when somebody like that. But you're right. It's good to make that point. Anybody feels your music.
Music is a universal love language, bro. Like, you could connect people of all different races, religions, like, without even saying a word, just from music. No matter if it's fucking house music, Indian, Arabian, fucking Spanish, reggaeton, you could just collect everybody. You know what I mean? And you could just, it's really a beautiful thing, bro, music. Like, as you could see, bro, I'm sure you could see just from talking to me about music that I'm very passionate about it, bro.
Yeah.
It's just my, like, you know? Somebody asked me the other day, bro, they're like, yo, you think, like, for $10 million, you think you could stop listening? Like, or I think it was like, for $2 billion, could you stop listening to music forever? I go, fuck yourself and the $2 billion, bro. I need music every day of my life, bro.
No, it's just something that, it's one of the only things that really, and it's cool when it's something like music because there are really very few things that have the power to bring all different walks of life together.
Yeah.
Music is one of those things.
And house music especially, bro, because a lot of it, there's no words. You know what I mean? So you're just hearing different sounds and beats and just, like I said before, producing that groove. That groove is what brings people together, bro. Like, bro, Space Miami, bro, I'll never forget. When I went to Space Miami my first time, I was fucking starstruck. And, like, there's so many different ethnicities and groups of people, and going back to the tranny and the fucking the LGBTQ community, like, there's just so many different groups of people there, and ethnicities, religions, and everyone's on the same fucking frequency. Nobody's getting into fist fights because you fucking looked at my girl's ass, like, or whatever. Everyone's just fucking partying, bro, having a good time, bro. You meet friends that you never think that you would meet, and you end up being friends for a long time with those people just because of house music and that 128 BPM. You understand?
You understand? 128 BPM, you understand? Dude, it's so true, though.
It is, bro.
And people...
I spit facts, bro.
Dude,
you know, I don't...
Only.
That's it, bro.
That's it.
I don't
We
sugarcoat-
ain't saying nothing just to go viral. We saying it because
Yeah.
it's a fucking fact.
And you're going to love it.
It's
You know
all
what I mean?
fucking day, dude.
That's what we do.
So where are you going next? What's next up for you in terms of the music, shows, and all that, and where you're going with it? What's your plan?
I'm working on a couple, you know, I'm working on getting booked, obviously, but, like, you know, listen, I would love to play every weekend, but I'm fucking locked in the studio, bro.
Yeah.
I got records, like I showed you before. I showed you that little in the club, like, I made, like, a little edit to In the Club or whatever. I got that other one, D.D, that I'm waiting on labels, but, like, I'm really trying to get just a fucking plethora and an arsenal of fucking bombs. You know what I mean? In my catalog that I could just send out, bro. Like, bro, like, going back to, you know, DeMello, Hyde, All Black, those kids. Bro, those motherfuckers, bro, have, like, 40, 50 tracks, like, just ready. Like, just sitting in the fucking cannon. You know what I mean? Ready to be fucking lit.
Yeah.
You know?
I've noticed that over time. I've started to learn that, and I've started to take that approach, especially with the podcast specifically, having the arsenal ready. Like having the episodes ready and having it on the backlog, ready to release at a future point.
Nothing worse than somebody who's like, you got to give me a little bit, like, there's nothing worse than that. Like someone who's just fucking dilly-dally, like, you know what I mean?
I want to have this shit ready to go. And I want to have a massive quantity ready to go.
Stay ready so you don't have to get ready,
That's what I'm saying. It's like, because spreading it out, and I think consistency in everything is so important, and I think having the arsenal of whatever you're building, and also just working on the craft, that alone, like you in the studio just working on the craft, trying different sounds. People just because we live in a day and age where now everybody is just so into posting it exactly as they're doing it, like as they're going, like you're at a disadvantage if you don't post as you go. It's like, dude, if you think about all the people who have had success over time, it wasn't just like set and go.
Yeah.
They worked on their craft over time and they built it, and then they got to the point where they could go.
That goes back to the first impression thing too, bro. Like, you know what I mean? You can't just fire out nonsense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No one's going to take you seriously, bro. Like, I'll never forget that too. With my boy Ricky with Hyde, you know, me and him made a record, you know, Pound Cake, obviously by Drake. That's another one. Wait till you hear that. We made an edit to that, bro. It's fucking insane. I was firing it out to people, you know, and not that I did it behind his back, but you know, you got to understand, like, I'm getting good at producing, and I want people to fucking hear it. And he, like, not that he got mad, but he kind of told me, like, yo, listen, bro, chill the fuck out, take 2 steps back, worry about making yourself 10 fucking pound cakes. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he kind of, not that he got pissed, but, like, he kind of got a little annoyed that I sent it out without asking him, because in his eyes, bro, he's like, how I say I'm a perfectionist. Him, Damien, Benny, those kids are fucking even, like, times 10 what I am. So when I did that, he was like, bro, like, it needs to be 100% done first before you send anything out. Yeah. You can't fire out nonsense, bro.
Yeah, and I do see the side of it now, like the current day and age, where people are posting as they go and just sending things out. But it's so funny because so many, I think no matter what, when you first start, when you go down the line a little bit, you look back and you're like, damn, how did I ever think that was good? You know, in anything you do. You know? So that's why it's important to just fucking start, first of all. Just go for it. No matter what you do, it's never going to be as good as you want it to be when you first start. You may think it is, but then I think that also draws back into the importance of maybe waiting and then reflecting back on it before you're putting it out.
And you know what? It also gives you a new perspective and a new drive when you listen to that shit or watch it in your sense. Like, I can't wait for after this podcast is ended, I'm going to show you some bass face music that I made in 2013 that is absolute horse shit. But, like, it's good to reflect on that. You know what I mean? I sampled Call of Duty in a record. Shit. Horrible.
Well, that was like the...
Horrible.
That was like the era of Call of Duty. Yeah, no, that was like,
I never forgot. I sampled... Tactical Nuke.
Yeah, that's like staple, dude.
Staple.
But it's true, and the interesting and talking about, it's cool to talk about it with somebody who does music specifically, because even when I was talking to Brant about it on his episode, the first episode we did, he was talking about music as a timestamp, and he's always like, you know, he's somebody who really is on the side of, I just want to work on my craft. I'm not putting anything out until I really think it's ready. And I mean, this guy talking about the arsenal of songs, that's what it is. He's got, dude, I'm talking crazy thousands, bro.
Yeah.
And he was showing this to us at Rutgers and Reds back when Reds was just taking off the year before any live music was allowed and all that. And we're listening. We're like, damn, this is fire. And he's like, yeah, it's good, but it's not there.
It's not
you know?
there.
But he also said at some point, it's all about the balance, because at some point you do have to be comfortable enough to start releasing it so you get feedback from other people.
Exactly.
And say, yo, this is done.
Well, that's the fine line. Like, where do I say perfection is? You know what I mean? Like, at some line, like, yo, I even listen to ASAP now, and I'm like, bro, there's, like, I wish I didn't release this, because there's a couple things I would like to change, but whatever. It's done. It's a fucking good record. You know what I mean? And and that's it. You have to be content with it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And as the creator, it's interesting because he also mentioned that when he listens to the song, he's hearing things that nobody else will hear, because he was making it in the studio, and he was trying to work a certain sound into a certain point of the music that you didn't even know he was trying.
Exactly.
And it's what you just said.
That's
You
creativity.
listen back. Exactly.
That's the creativity aspect.
That's why I love, and one of the things I like to focus, or a lot of the people I like to have on the podcast are people who are creatives, because I think it's so interesting, the creative process, and how difficult it is to find the balance between working on your craft and then showing it to the world.
It's definitely fucking like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's very nerve-wracking, so to speak, because you want everyone to like it, but in a perfect world, not everyone's going to like it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you just have to take your losses as they come, bro, you know what I mean? And just do you at the end of the day, bro, because at the end of the day, that's what you're, you know what I mean? You're giving people what's up here, what you hear, and what you think would sound good. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, you have to just fucking hold the line.
Hold the fucking
and
line.
let it fucking rip, bro. You know what I mean?
Let's fucking go, dog. Dude, I'll tell you what, this was a fucking amazing episode.
Yeah.
Dude, the story, I mean, like I said, I didn't even know the story, like where it goes back, all of that.
Yeah.
And you explained it
my
very well.
grandfather too, bro.
Dude.
That's something that like I've been real passionate about, that I'm gonna try to work on soon, because my grandfather, thank God, bro, I'm blessed. Like, all my grandparents are still alive. They're getting older. You know what I mean? And like, my grandfather gave me a bunch of his CDs because he knows I'm into music now, and nobody samples Italian music, and there's so many Italian DJs. Wait until you see the shit that I whip out with my fucking Nonno Joe.
I'll tell you.
Fucking kidding me, bro?
I'll tell you what, the Italian roots are something. It's such a popular. It's such a close-knit community too. You see, they got that podcast, Growing Up Italian, like, and just everybody's
I don't want to.
You want to comment on it?
I don't want to comment on
No,
this fucking.
Well, what I'm saying is, whether you like it or not, there's just so many people who gravitate towards that heritage.
You're right.
And
I mean,
we're talking Frank
doesn't wanna be
Sinatra,
fucking
Dean
Italian,
Martin,
bro?
like that era. Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, when they used to hang out with Don
Frankie
Rickles,
Valli.
Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons.
Valley. Shout out Dario Valli. That's his grandfather. You know Dario Valli?
Dario Valli's grandfather is Frankie Valli.
Yeah, man.
No fucking way.
Yeah, man.
I only know Dario through you guys. Again, I never met him.
Dario's another phenomenal,
Very talented, right? Yeah.
phenomenal fucking DJ, bro.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. And I'll tell if somebody fucking sucks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Nah, you're telling it how it is. That's,
Phenomenal, fucking, very talented kid, Dario, bro.
yeah. That whole era, though, like Frankie Valli, and then you had Frank Sinatra. I mean, I love the whole Rat Pack. And the one thing I always say, I can't say it enough. I told it on the Il Nicky pod, too. One of my favorite stories. There's two good stories revolving that whole thing. The first one is, I love how Sinatra was the guy who stood up back in the day when people were trying to keep Sammy Davis out because of his color of his skin. He was black, right?
Yeah.
He'd go wherever, he'd go to places, and they'd be like, sorry, he's not welcome here. And Frank Sinatra was like, listen, he's with me. If he don't go where I go, then I'm not going anywhere.
You'll never see my face ever again.
I'll never come back here, and I'm not coming in right now.
That's it.
He's coming with me. So that was one of the things, I think, one of my favorite things about Frank Sinatra, aside from the talent, was that he did that. And I don't know if a lot of people are aware of that, but that was him.
Yeah.
That's what he stood for.
Yeah.
And then one of my other favorite stories is a story about when Don Rickles, I mean, Don Rickles and Frank Sinatra were great friends. I mean, Don Rickles to me is like my favorite comedian of all time.
Yep.
And the way their chemistry worked, how they would, like, when he would go on Johnny Carson and they were joking around. But he told the story on Johnny Carson when Don Rickles was out to eat with a girl, and Frank was also out to eat, and he goes, hey, Frank, he goes, I'm with this girl, I'm trying to hook up. Can you say hello? And he goes, absolutely, I'll swing by the table. So he swings by the table. He goes, Don, how you doing tonight? Nice to see you. And Don Rickles just goes, can't you see I'm eating, Frank? And just completely fucking dogs him like he always did.
Exactly.
And he goes, that's a fucking true story.
And
That's
I guarantee he got laid that night too, probably.
100%. I'm sure.
He telling off Frank fucking Sinatra.
But you know what? That camaraderie is something I really appreciate, and I find that camaraderie with our squad. No matter whether we've known each other for however long it is,
camaraderie.
As soon as we all came together, that camaraderie that I saw with them and that made what they did so powerful and so good, I feel that with us, and that's how I know I want to keep going forward with the crew we have.
To the fucking moon,
Just
bro.
fucking keep going, dude.
To the moon, bro.
Dude. Well,
Love
fucking thank you for doing this. I
Bro,
appreciate it.
thank you for having me, bro. This was
unbelievable.
This is something special, bro. I told you, when Red and Jozi hook up, it's a recipe for disaster. You understand?
You understand?
Fucking
Awesome, dude. Well, again, thank you. This was awesome. I had a great time learning your story.
Awesome time, bro. Seriously.
A lot more good times ahead.
Thank you, Headliner, for letting us do this
Shout
here, bro.
out to Headliner, yo. Appreciate it.
Shout
for real.
out to fucking.
They're always great here. Always, dude.
Hospitality is on a
yeah.
different level here, bro.
Unreal. I mean,
You know?
every time we come here. So awesome. All right, and with that, we're out.
That's it.
Understand.
Understand.
Let's go.